yourself on the block, and again just sit so that half of your bum is on the block and half of it is coming forward. And then just make sure that you're starting to work on the 3 bandhas or the 3 locks. So you're clenching your bum hole, sucking the belly in, opening the chest, tucking the chin under. So you feel this nipping and tucking from underneath, yeah? So you're sort of pulling up and opening the chest so that the spine is in one line. And then as you're working on the core muscles, still clenching the bum hole, so getting that position, that sort of lower bandha engaged, place your hands on your knees and start working with the breath. So you're breathing through the nose only and you're lengthening the breath, so it's the same length on the inhale as it is on the exhale. So inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Carry on with the breathing like this for the rest of the class, so that you can sort of activate the vagus nerve and shut down your fight and flight system, which is the stressful system, and sort of relaxing the body. Also, to get me on the big image, you need to click on my image and then go on the bottom left corner of my image and pin me in there if I'm not already in the big screen. Okay, now interlace the fingers in front of you, stretch the arms so you're looking at the palms. On the next inhale, suck the belly in, and on the exhale, turn the palms away from you and bring the palms up towards the ceiling. Make sure you're still sucking the belly in so that the belly doesn't come forward, and then roll the shoulders back, keeping your arms as straight as you can so you're stretching the sides of the body. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, keep your right hand up towards the ceiling, left hand down towards the floor. Inhale, lengthen the right side. Exhale, lean towards your left, bending the left elbow, looking down towards your right armpit. Keep your arm as straight as you can, grounding down through the sitting bones, keeping that stretch onto the right side of the body, lengthening the breath. On the next inhale, come back up, place your right hand by the block, left hand up towards the ceiling. Inhale, stretch the left side, exhale, lean towards your right, looking down towards your left armpit, stretching the body. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center, left hand behind you, right hand over the left knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your left, chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your left shoulder. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine. On the exhale, using your arms, don't lean on them. You're using the arm to twist to the side. Last breath here. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center and right hand behind you, left hand over the right knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your right, chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your right shoulder. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine, and on the exhale, you're creating a little bit more of a torsion on the torso, feeling the stretch on the upper side of the back. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center, let go of the block, place it somewhere that is easily to grab throughout the class, and come on your fours. You're bringing your hands underneath the shoulder width apart, and the hips, the knees are underneath the hips and they're hip width apart. You're on a tabletop, top of the feet on the mat. On the next inhale, you're looking forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out. You're relaxing the belly. On the exhale, you're starting to push the bum towards your hands, contracting the abdominals, curving the back towards the ceiling, looking down towards your knees. Inhale, look forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out. Exhale, curve the back towards the ceiling, push the bum towards your hands, looking down towards your knees. Do 2 more, following your breath, making sure that the arms and the legs are quite stable. The only thing that is moving is the back, one direction and then the other. And then on the next inhale, you're coming back into a neutral position. Tuck your toes under, and on the exhale, push the bum up towards the ceiling, looking down towards your feet, having your feet hip-width apart, and start walking on the spot. So on the inhale, you're bending one knee, transferring the weight onto the other leg, and on the exhale, you're bending the other knee, transferring the weight onto the other. So you're walking on the spot, nice and gentle movements, nothing too sudden. You're allowing the back of the legs to start opening up, looking down towards your feet so your neck is nice and long. And then on the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands. Bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet hip-width apart. Grab hold of the opposite elbow, inhale, look forward, lengthen the spine, bend the knees, exhale, rest the torso toward on the thighs, letting go of the head. If you want, you can straighten the knees now and still pointing the top of the head down towards the floor. Start nodding your head a couple of times, using the weight of the head to sort of lengthen the neck and the upper part of the back. Turn your head right and left. And then start bringing your body towards the right leg and then towards the left, opening up your lower back as well. And then on the next inhale, come back into the center, let go of the hands on the floor, bend the knees, and on the exhale, you're coming all the way up, coming up into a standing position, head last to come up. Come to the top of the mat, into the mountain pose. We're going to set the mountain pose, and then I'm just going to read you the disclaimer. So big toes are touching. You're distributing the weight into the middle of the feet. Start pulling the kneecaps up. Tilt your pelvis under so you're fully feeling that pulling and the closing of the lower sphincters and the pulling into the lower abdomen. Suck the belly in, open the chest, tuck the chin under, arms by your sides with the fingers pointing down towards the floor. You're looking just beyond your nose, working on all the elements of the body so that you're only standing, but everything is activated. And then stay here for another breath or two. And when participating in any class or exercise program, you may incur the possibility of injury. By voluntarily participating into this class, you take full responsibility of any injury that may incur to yourself. Just be careful, make sure you got plenty of space. And then bring your hands in front of your chest. Close your eyes, set an intention for today's practice, but also aim to not only train the body, but also train the mind by focusing the mind on the breath. We're going to do 3 sun salutations. The first one we're going to do together at a basic level, and then we can go up at your own level, or I'm going to go up one notch at a time. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, look up at the ceiling, and suck the belly in. On the exhale, you're folding forward at the hips, placing your hands on the shin, the ankle, or the mat. On the next inhale, press through the hands wherever they are, look forward, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, hands on the mat, step the right leg out into a lunge, left leg to meet it into a high plank. We're setting the plank, start from the tiptoes. You're on your tiptoes, but you're pushing the heels away from you. You're bringing your body, your shoulders above the wrists, clenching the front of the thighs, clenching the glutes, sucking the belly in. On the exhale, knees to the floor, leading with the chest, looking slightly forward. You're rubbing the elbows by your side, bringing your body down to the floor. Hands underneath the shoulders, top of the feet on the mat. On the next inhale, peel the chest off the floor, roll the shoulders away from you, look forward. Exhale, tuck your toes under, coming to your hands and knees. Bring the seat towards your heels, and you're coming up into a downward dog. Stepping your feet forward, feet hip-width apart, trying to bring the heels down to the floor, looking down towards your feet or pointing the top of the head down towards the floor. The aim is to have your legs as straight as you can with the heels coming down towards the mat. If that's too much, just bend the knees, lift the heels off the floor, push the bum up, and then gently start to bring the heels down towards the floor as much as you can. You shouldn't tremble. One more breath here. You can take a break anytime by bringing your knees down to the floor, coming to child pose and then coming back up. On the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet together. Exhale, you're folding forward, letting go of the head. On the next inhale, come up a little bit, suck the belly in, bring your hands up towards the ceiling and exhale, hands by your sides. Second one, inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward, exhale, hands on the mat, add a step or drop into a high plank. Inhale, set the plank, tilt your pelvis under slightly, exhale at a low plank or knees to the floor. If you're doing the low plank, roll the shoulders back, looking forward, halfway down. On the next inhale, push the body through the hands, straighten the arms, roll the shoulders back, look forward. Exhale, tuck your toes under, downward dog. Setting the feet as you did and the legs with the previous pose, and now concentrating on the upper part of the body. Your hands are as wide as the shoulders, the wrists are in line with the top of the mat. You're rolling your shoulders back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, feeling that pulling between your shoulder blades, and looking down towards your feet or pointing the top of the head down towards the floor. Tilt your pelvis under slightly so you're not overarching your lower back. Last breath here. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, you're looking forward at a step or jump to the top of the mat. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, engage the core. Bring your hands up towards the ceiling. And exhale, hands by your sides. Last one. Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat, add a step or jump into a high plank. Inhale, set the plank into a low plank or knees to the floor, coming all the way down. And then on the next inhale, push the body through the hands, straighten the arms, look forward, roll the shoulders back. And exhale, coming into a downward dog again. Bring all the elements together of the pose, lengthening the breath, focusing on any part of the body that feels uncomfortable while you're doing this pose. Even if it is just the wrists, just breathe into that area and allowing them to sort of loosen up. 2 more breaths here. And then on the next inhale, you're looking forward at a step or jump to the top of the mat. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, engage the core. Bring your hands up towards the ceiling. And exhale, hands by your sides. Okay? So make sure that if you've joined the class later, you've got a couple of pillows, a belt or a strap, and the block. We start with the feet hip-width apart, hands on the hips. And we're stepping with the left foot halfway down the mat, turning the toes towards the top left corner of the mat. So the foot should be at 10 o'clock. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor and then either grab hold of the opposite elbow or you're making an inverted prayer behind your back. Whichever way you're doing it, when you're folding forward, you're trying to pull the elbows away from the body or you're pressing the palms together so that you're bringing the elbows back, okay? On the next inhale, square the hips towards the front. So you're pulling that right hip back, opening the chest. And on the exhale, you're folding forward at the hips. So you should feel your abdominals engaged at all times. Pushing the elbows away from the body, tucking your chin slightly under so your neck is nice and long. And then just checking that your front leg is straight. If it is bent, you need to come up until you're able to just straighten the leg and fold forward. So make sure that the front leg is straight, not bent. And then still on the next inhale, suck the belly in, engage the core. And on the exhale, see if you can go a little bit further, but you want to be at about 80% of your stretch capacity, so you're allowing your fascia to stretch. One more breath here. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up. Place your hands on the hips and step to the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Feet together, hands on the hips. You're stepping with your right foot halfway down the mat. This time the foot is pointing at 2 o'clock or at the top of the right corner of your mat. And then on the next inhale, pull the left hip back. The hips are square to the front. Bring your arms parallel to the floor and either grab hold of the opposite elbow or inverted prayer. On the next inhale, suck the belly in, pull the kneecaps up, open the chest, and on the exhale, you're folding forward at the hips. Make sure the front leg is straight. If it is bent, you need to come up and then straighten the leg and restart from the beginning. Make sure that the hips are squared, and then just breathe into the back of the legs. Engaging the core muscles with every in-breath, pulling the elbows away from you. Last breath here. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up. Place your hands on the hips and step to the front of the mat. Grab hold of the block and place it on the outside of your right foot. On the next inhale, start with the feet together, hands on the hips. You're stepping with the left foot 2/3 of the mat. And then on the next inhale, you're bending the right leg and you're placing your right hand either on the block on the outside of the foot or directly into the mat. But you should be able to turn the hips towards the left, okay? So whatever way you want to. And then on the next inhale, bring your left arm all the way around, turning the torso towards your left and pointing the palms down towards the floor. Rolling that left shoulder back, feeling that stretch in the whole side of your left side. And then keeping your left arm as straight as you can. The option are that you're either looking straight ahead or you're pointing the chin towards your left armpit or you're looking towards your left hand. Last breath here. On the inhale, lengthen the spine. On the exhale, turn the torso towards your left. Feeling that stretch into the left side of the body. On the next inhale, look down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips, and exhale, you step into the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Bring the block on the outside of your left foot. Feet together, hands on the hips. You're stepping with the right foot 2/3 of the mat. Turning the toes towards the top right corner of the mat. And then on the next inhale, you're bending the left leg, keeping that back leg straight, and you're placing your hand on the block or directly into the mat. And then on the next inhale, turn the torso towards your right, bringing your right arm all the way around so that the palms are facing down towards the floor. Rolling that right shoulder back and really trying to lengthen the left side of your rib cage, but at the same time you're turning the torso towards your right. So in theory you should still be able to hold the pose by taking the hand off the block. Inhaling to the count of 5 and exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, look down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips, and exhale, you step into the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, grab hold of the block, and you're placing it on the outside of your right foot. Start with the feet hip width apart, hands on the hips. You're stepping with the left foot halfway down the mat. Square the hips towards the front, so you're pulling the right hip back. On the next inhale, suck the belly in, lean forward. On the exhale, you're placing your left hand on the block on the outside of the right foot, and then turn the torso towards your right, making sure both legs are straight, and you can keep your hand on your waist, or you can bring your left hand up towards the ceiling, palms facing away from you. On the next inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. On the exhale, turn the torso towards your right. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, look down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands to the waist and come all the way up, step into the front of the mat. We're going to do it on the other side. You're bringing the block on the outside of the left foot. Start with the feet hip width apart. So when you're stepping back, you're maintaining that stance. So you're stepping now with the left foot halfway down the mat, turning the toes towards the top right corner of the mat. On the next inhale, square the hips towards the front. If you're finding that difficult, step the right foot out. And on the next inhale, suck the belly in, lean forward. Pull the kneecaps up so both legs are straight. And then you're placing your hand onto your right hand onto the block on the outside of the left foot. You can also bring the block up a little bit more if you want to. And then turn the torso towards your left, bringing your left hand up towards the ceiling, palms facing away from you. On the next inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. On the exhale, turn the torso towards your left, making sure both legs are straight. Last breath here, inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, look down towards the floor, place your hands on the hips, and on the exhale, you're coming all the way up, step into the front of the mat, giving yourself a little bit of a shake. Place your block away but that you can easily grab it, and we're gonna do the balancing pose. Okay, so we're standing on the right leg, we're on the tiptoes of the left. And what we're gonna do now, we're gonna lift, the hands are on the hips, you're lifting the left leg off the floor. You've got two options here. The easier option is that you're placing your left hand in the front, your right hand on the outside of the left knee, turning towards the left and bringing the other hand behind you with the thumb facing up towards the ceiling. Otherwise, you're grabbing hold of the foot from the top, grabbing hold of the edge, standing up straight, straightening the leg and bringing the arm behind you. So you're looking at the straight ahead towards the left or towards your left hand. Inhale into the count of 5 and exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, start letting go of the foot, bring your hands on the hips, bend the leg and come all the way down. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Standing on the left leg, tiptoes of the right. On the next inhale, lift the right leg off the floor, and now you can place your left hand on the outside of the left knee, of the right knee, turning towards your right, bringing your hand behind you, or you're grabbing hold of the foot from the top, grabbing hold of the edge of the foot. Stand up straight first, straighten the leg, and then turn towards the sides. Making sure you're still standing up straight. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, bend the leg, turn towards the front, hands on the hips, and release the leg down towards the floor. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. you got some plans to go out today. Stunning day. I don't know how long it's gonna last. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of core muscles and then we're gonna lower ourselves down. So basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna come into a downward dog and then come into a plank. Go back into downward dog, come back into a plank, and then lowering ourselves down with control onto the floor, okay? So on the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward at the hips, placing your hands on the shin, the ankle or the mat. On the next inhale, press through the hands, look forward, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, hands on the mat, add a step or jump into a plank. On the exhale, you're coming into a downward dog. Okay, have your feet hip width apart. You can be on your tiptoes of the feet. On the next inhale, you're bringing your shoulders above the wrist, tilt your pelvis under, squeeze the glutes, pull the kneecaps up. Exhale, come back into a downward dog. Inhale, you're coming back into a plank. Tilt your pelvis under. You want to be in one line between the head and the heels. Exhale, you're coming back into a downward dog. Last one, we're coming back into a plank, and this time we're lowering ourselves down onto the floor. You can also do it with your knees down onto the floor. Otherwise, you can do the chaturanga and rubbing your elbows by your side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You lower yourself onto the floor. Shuffle yourself so that the whole of the body is on the mat. And then we're bringing the body along the side, forward onto the floor. On the next inhale, peel the chest off the floor, hands off the floor, legs off the floor, tilting into your pelvis, looking just beyond your mat. 3, 2, and 1. Relaxing yourself down onto the floor. Make a pillow with your hands. Turn your head to one side and start rocking your hips from side to side. Come back into the center. This time you can interlace the fingers behind your back, forward onto the floor. On the next inhale, lift the chest off the floor, lift the legs off the floor and push the hands away from you, looking just beyond the mat. 3, 2, and 1. Relax yourself back down onto the floor. Make a pillow with your hands, turn the head to the other side, rocking your hips from side to side. And now we're preparing for the last one. So either you repeat one of the last two that we've done, or you can also do a full bow where you're bringing your knees as wide as the mat, bringing the big toes together, and you're grabbing hold of the ankles with each arm, bringing the big toes together. On the next inhale, chest off the floor, legs off the floor, roll onto your pelvis. Looking forward. One more breath. And then lowering yourself down, making a pillow with your hand, turning the head one side and rocking your body from side to side. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes under, come into your hands and knees and come into child pose. So bring your top of the feet down onto the floor, sitting on your heels. You're either resting onto your thighs or you can bring the knees out with the big toes touching, arms forward, forward onto the floor. Sit as much as you can onto your heels. Relaxing your lower back, letting go of any tension into your lower back. Okay, and now on the next inhale, come into your hands and knees. We're gonna do a stretching of the shoulder. So basically we're doing this lying down. So first of all, place the block where your forehead is going to be. And then you might need some pillows just underneath your breast as you bring it. So underneath your arms, basically just in the space in your belly, okay? So I'll show you. You're placing the pillow in here, you're lying yourself down, and you're crossing the left arm over, and you're bringing the other arm in front, okay? So the left arm, the right arm is in front of the left. Now, you can bring yourself down as much as you can, or you can also rest on your elbows and bring up the block and rest your forehead here. So make sure that you're about 80% intensity into the stretching the shoulders, okay? The palms are facing up towards the ceiling, and you're trying to cross the arms as much as you can in front of you, but you can also cross at the elbows, okay? If you're crossing at the elbows, you're obviously up. Just breathe into the space in between the shoulder blades. Breathing into the back of the shoulders. And then to come out of the pose, lift the head up. Start first with the right arm, which is in front. You're propping yourself up onto that elbow and then into the other elbow, and we're gonna swap the arms over. So bring the left arm forward. This time the right arm comes in the front, as close to the boobs as possible, to the chest. And then you're crossing that left arm on the front, so the left arm is on the top. And then just gauge yourself. Sometimes one shoulder is tighter than the other. You're okay? Okay. And resting yourself down onto the floor, making sure that either your head is resting on the pillow or on the block. That can be on either side, so either flat or coming up. Breathe into the space in between the shoulder blades. Breathe into the area of the back of the shoulders, really feeling the stretch. On the next inhale, prop yourself up first on the left hand, and then the right elbow. And then come in, set yourself up. So get rid of the block, get rid of the pillow, and bring your hands underneath the shoulders, tuck your toes under, and coming up into your fours, and then sitting into the mat so that your legs are forward and you're sitting up onto the mat. You can use a block underneath your bum to prop yourself up. Release the muscle away from your bum and straighten the legs as much as you can by pulling the toes up towards the ceiling. Place your hands either side of the bum with the fingers pointing towards the toes. Roll your shoulders back, bend the elbows, and bring the elbows to the back so that you can open the chest. And now we're working on the core muscles again. So you're clenching your bum holes, sucking the belly in, opening the chest, tucking the chin under, feeling this nipping and tucking from the pelvis all the way up to the top of the head. Really feeling that the core muscles is keeping you upright. And pulling, trying to press the back of the knees down towards the floor. On the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, you're folding forward at the hips, making sure the abdominals are engaged at all times. When you feel like they start to go, relax the hands wherever they're comfortable on the legs. And then tuck your chin under so your neck is nice and long. On the next inhale, suck the belly in and pulling with your hands, you're actively bringing the torso towards the thighs. Adjusting the neck all the time so that the neck is in line with the rest of the back. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up. Now again, you might need a block if you want to. Bring the soles of the feet together with the feet as close as you can towards your groin. You should be able to bring the knees down towards the floor quite easily. If they're quite high up, use a block underneath your bum to sort of help them to relaxing to the sides. Your thumb is on the soles of the feet and your fingers are on the top of the foot, and you're trying to bring the soles of the feet pointing up towards the ceiling as you're pushing your pelvis forward and you're pushing your chest forward. So you're sitting upright as much as you can with the legs out to the sides. If you want, on the next inhale, you're sucking the belly in, opening the chest, and on the exhale, you're folding forward at the hips so the back is nice and straight. When the elbows touch the inside of the thighs, you can press down with the elbows so that you're helping the legs to open up. Just make sure that your neck is in line with the rest of the back, so you're tucking your chin under slightly, and that you're still about 80% of your stretch capacity. Nice and long breaths. Just start scanning the body and just identify any area of the body that feels particularly uncomfortable as you're doing this pose, and just send your breath there, allowing it to open up and to surrender to the pose. One more breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, come all the way up, and now we're straightening the legs. So we're bringing the legs out to the sides. I find that normally if my heels are in the padded place, it's actually easier to do this pose. Now remove the flesh away from your buttocks. So you want to tilt your pelvis so that you can fold forward. So you almost have to sort of tilt forward slightly. Now point the toes up towards the ceiling, hands in front of your groins. The key is that you're folding forward at the hips, okay? So if you cannot fold forward because this is already enough, stay here. You can use a block or some pillows underneath your bum if you need to. And otherwise you can start walking your hands away from you, keeping your chest forward and making sure you're folding forward at the hips. Just breathe into the inside of the thighs and into the hamstrings, and just stay at a point where you're not really forcing yourself into this pose. You're still at 80% capacity, so you could go that 20% more. But you're not going to, because you're trying to allow the fascia to open up and stretch. If you're going too much and you're overstretching, you're actually achieving the opposite result, where everything is going to tense up because it's trying to protect itself. One more breath here. And then on the next inhale, walk your hands back to the center and bring the legs together. Now, I want you to do some exercises for the wrists because we're gonna do the side crow, okay? So as I'm explaining to you how to do the side crow, I want you to come into your hands and come into your knees and start making circles with the wrists, pointing the fingers down with the arms straight, turning the palm up, pointing the fingers down, and then sort of bringing the fingers forward, bringing your weight in there, creating a little bit of a circle, bringing the fingers out, going from side to side, and then bringing the fingers towards the body and sitting back, okay? So you want to loosen up the wrist as I'm explaining to you the crow. Now, you can bring a pillow, basically where you're gonna land with your head. And the key is, with the side crow, that you're coming up into your tiptoes, you're keeping the knees together, and you're turning the body to one side so that the hands are to the side of the leg, okay? Now, what you want to do, you want to have the hands nice and wide so that they're not too close together, because then the balance is more difficult. Spread the fingers as much as you want, and then one elbow should touch the hips, the other elbow should be just above the knees, okay? You're looking forward, and the key is also that you're not letting the legs just limp, you're just hugging the knees to the chest, and you're keeping that position as you're leaning forward, so the elbow makes contact with my hip and with my knees. I'm looking forward and I'm tilting forward until the feet are off the floor. Okay? And then you're coming back down. I'm coming a little bit forward. Eventually, you want to be so that the leg that is in touch with the arms is straightening in front, and then the other one is straight in behind. Okay? And you're coming back. And then you're gonna do the other side. So start with it. You might get to the point where you're only here, and with the pillow pretty much where your head is gonna land, you're gonna tilt back and forward, tilt back and forward. So you're doing this, make sure you're looking forward, you're not looking down. Until maybe you can lift the other leg off, and then down, off, and down. And then take a little break, and then we're gonna do it on the other side, okay? So you're turning to the side, hands very wide, making contact with the hip and the knees, and then going forward, and then coming back. Okay? All right, so come out of the crow if you were doing it. We're coming back into the middle of the mat, bending the knees and giving yourself a little bit of a rest with the wrists, making circles with the wrist one direction and then the other. Straighten the arm, bring your fingers down towards the floor, palm up, bring the fingers down, and you do the other hand. Okay? And then place your hands in front of your knees, roll yourself onto your back, hugging the knees to the chest, and staying here for a breath or two. Now, when you're doing the side crows, you're working a lot on the front of the hip, okay? So really hug the knees towards the chest so that you're releasing the hips and the front of the hips. Tuck your chin to the chest so you're not overextending your neck. And now what we're going to do, we're going to do the bridge. So we're bringing the feet as close as we can in front of the hips. The feet are hip-width apart and the toes are pointing away from us. Press the palms down onto the floor. On the next inhale, first you're tilting your pelvis under. So you're lifting the bum off the floor and you're shortening the distance between the pelvis and the rib cage. Keeping the pelvis as it is, you're pushing the hips up, making sure the knees don't come out to the sides. You can interlace the fingers behind your back, shuffling to the top of your shoulders, pushing the hips up, but still tilting the pelvis under. And then very gently release the hands, and on the exhale, bring your back down onto the floor, hugging your knees to the chest, rotating the knees clockwise. We're going to do it one more time. So you're placing your feet in front of your hips. Tilt your pelvis under, push the hips up towards the ceiling, interlace the fingers behind your back, shuffle to the top of your shoulders, squeeze the glutes, push the hips up, tilt your pelvis under, looking down towards your knees. Nice and long breaths. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. So press down onto your big toes and into the heels, pushing yourself up, and then on the next inhale, release the arms, and on the exhale, bring your back down onto the floor, hugging your knees to the chest, rotating your knees counterclockwise. Okay, so now this is when you need the strap or the belt. So grab hold of the strap of the belt. Straighten your right leg down onto the floor, and then with your belt or the strap, you're wrapping it on the ball of the left foot and straightening the left leg onto the floor, onto the ceiling. So your leg is as straight as you can, grabbing hold of that strap. And then if you're finding that this is already challenging, just stay here. If you're really finding this difficult, then just grab hold of the back of the thigh and sort of straighten the leg, okay? Now, if you've got the strap, start bringing that left leg out towards the sides, pressing down with your right hand onto the right thigh so that the right leg is down onto the floor. If you are struggling and you're not using the strap, just place your hand onto the outside of the knee and just bring it out to the side. And then when you're ready, start bringing the leg back up towards the ceiling, bend the leg, release the strap, and swap the legs over. So this time you're straightening the left leg down onto the mat, hugging the knee towards the chest, the right knee, and then either using the strap or your hands, you just straighten the leg, pointing the toes down towards you. And then you can bring your leg out to the side. Either you can bend it and bring it out to the side. With your left hand, you're pressing down onto the left thigh, keeping the leg down onto the floor. And then very gently start bringing that leg back down onto the center. Hug both knees to the chest. And then bring the knees as close as you can towards your armpits. And then bring your hands into the inside of the knees. Grab hold of the foot on the inside of the foot. And just bring the knees bent. So the knees are touching the armpits, but you're bringing the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling into a happy baby. And you can also rock from side to side gently if you want to. And then bring the knees together, arms out to the sides, and bring the knees out towards the left, looking towards your right hand. And then on the next inhale, bring the knees back to the center and then roll them onto the right, looking towards your left hand. And then very gently bring the knees back to the center. Release yourself into the corpse pose as we're proceeding to do some meditation and relaxation. So make sure that you're bringing your feet as wide as the mat, rolling your feet to the sides, and now to make sure that the whole of your lower back is on the floor, press onto the heels, lift the bum off the floor, gently bend the knees so that you can land the bum onto the mat, and then roll yourself onto the lower back so you're feeling the whole of your lower back onto the floor. If you're still uncomfortable, you can use some pillows underneath the knees. Roll your shoulders back, palms facing up towards the ceiling, tucking your chin under so your neck is nice and long. You can also use a pillow underneath your chin, your neck. Make sure you're comfortable. If you're not, you can bend the knees so that the feet are on the mat, as wide as the mat, and the knees are supporting each other. Okay, so start relaxing the feet, relax the ankles, relax the calves, relax your shins, relax your knee joints, relax the back of the thighs, relax the front of the thighs, relax your hips. From the hips, you're traveling all the way across the glutes, into the middle of your bum cheeks, and from there you're going under and over your reproductive organs into the pelvic area, relaxing the whole of your pelvic area, noticing if there's any tension that you're holding there. And then relax your lower abdomen, so the area between the pelvis and the belly button. And relax your upper abdomen, the area between the belly button and the rib cage. Going up into your rib cage, either side of the chest bone, relaxing the rib cage, relaxing your breasts, your chest, your collarbone, going to the top of the shoulders, and now traveling down the back, either side of the spine, first in the space in between the shoulder blades, then relaxing the shoulder blades, relaxing the middle of your back, and relaxing your lower back, all the way down into your sitting bones. And then coming to the sides of the body and traveling up the sides of the body into the waist, all the way up to the armpit, relaxing the sides of the body. And now relaxing the shoulder from the armpit to the front of the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, and the back of the shoulder. Relaxing your upper arms, relaxing your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, and your hands. And now coming back to the top of the shoulders, relaxing the back of the neck and relaxing the front of the neck. Relax your chin, relax your lower jaw, relax your mouth and your upper lip, and just notice if you're holding any tension on your jaw. Relaxing that area. Traveling up towards the nose, relaxing the nose and going across the face into the cheeks all the way to the ears, relaxing that middle part of your face. And now relaxing your eye sockets, your temples, your forehead, the scalp and the whole of your head. Feeling as though your body is getting more and more relaxed and melting into the mat. And now I just want you to focus on one part of the body that felt particularly uncomfortable as you were practicing today. Just focus your attention into that area and just send the next 4 or 5 breaths into that area, and with each breath you're sending warmth and healing and relaxation, allowing that area to open up and relax. And now very gently start bringing your attention back to the rest of the body. Take a deep breath in through your nose and sigh out through your mouth. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you sigh out through the mouth, start wiggling your toes. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you sigh out through your mouth, start wiggling your fingers. And then bring your feet together and bring your arms over your head. First, tense up the whole body, and then just try to release it, relaxing it. Start hugging one knee at a time towards the chest, and other you're rocking back and forward until you're coming up into a seated position, cross-legged on the floor, or roll yourself onto the right side and help yourself up by pushing yourself up with your left arm, coming up into a cross-legged position onto the mat. Bring your hands in front of your chest, close your eyes, and just remind yourself of the intention you set out at the beginning of the class, and also just make a mental note of how often you were able to just focus the mind on the breath and how often your mind just wandered off. Don't judge yourself, just resolve that every time you practice yoga, you're not only practicing your body but also your mind. Thank you for practicing today, and enjoy the beautiful day outside, and namaste. See you